Erev Tov Rabotai, Erev Tov, Be'ezrat Hashem, the merit of the Tzaddik, Rabbi Chaim Pinto, the merit of Baba Saleh, and the merit Be'ezrat Hashem of the Tzaddik, Rabbi Meir, Baal HaNes, may HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Be'ezrat Hashem, give everyone big bracha, tzlacha, b'siyata deshmaya gdola, malkei alma, u'yivרך et kon v'yizakeh et kon. May the merit of all the Tzaddikim, Be'ezrat Hashem, protect us, spend us shefat b'lidai, hear all our prayers, and fulfill all our hearts' wishes, and milkin yaz Be'ezrat Hashem. Now, Botai, this all what's happening in the world, we are tired of it. Until now, we said, it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu trying to make us, bring us back with tshuva, put us in a position of awakening us, but that is finished. Now, Rabotai, where we are at this point, it's Yitzhara. Now we have to get out, we have to continue, we have to turn back the light of Torah, we have to start back our lives, and Be'ezrat Hashem will have success if we do a few right steps right now in the beginning and our perfect opportunity in tonight, such a holy night. So now, Rabotai, before we get into it, Be'ezrat Hashem, I would like to light a few candles for Be'ezrat Hashem, the special occasion of the night. And that is actually two things. First of all, we have Pesach Shenei, which is essentially a second opportunity to celebrate Pesach, and we're going to speak about that in a moment. And second of all, we have the Ilula of the righteous tzaddik, Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes. Now you know, Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes is one of those tzaddikim that throughout the year, we hear so many miracles, we hear so many things that are abnormal, out of the nature, and we take it as an opportunity to connect ourselves to a tzaddik, to bring down bracha. Tonight, Rabotai, it is the night of his Ilula. So we can only imagine, Rabotai, how important it is to light candles to a tzaddik, to do a limud Torah to a tzaddik. We're going to Be'ezrat Hashem say a few stories of tzaddik, no, nothing more than saying big stories of tzaddik. You wake up the emunah, you bring him back to life, you allow him to speak those same words that he spoke about in those ma'asiyot, in those occasions, in those stories that he lived. You give him the opportunity to redo those stories. So Be'ezrat Hashem, we're going to do as much as possible to immerse ourselves in the kedusha of the tzaddik in order to bring down as much as bracha as possible. So Be'ezrat Hashem, I would like to light a candle, and I encourage every single one, Rabotai, to light a candle for the tzaddik, Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, and to say a specific sentence. You know, Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, Rabotai, his name, we call him Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes. What does Baal HaNes mean? Master of the miracle. We call Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes not just a tzaddik, a man of faith, a man of miracles, the master of miracles. So Rabotai, it's an opportunity for each and every one of us to bring upon ourselves the miracle. So I would like Rabotai Be'ezrat Hashem to light a candle, and I want everyone to light a candle, and we're going to start Be'ezrat Hashem with a few stories of Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, and to try to connect both of these occasions together, as well as Be'ezrat Hashem and the Omer. So Baruch Hashem, Rabotai, we have the merit of having candles that I personally took them to Eretz Israel, and they traveled around with me, and they were at the grave of Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, of Rabbi Yehuda ben Baba, all the tzaddikim of Eretz Israel, Arizal, Rambam, and these are these candles Be'ezrat Hashem that they much went from grave to grave, so Be'ezrat Hashem, zchut, all the tzaddikim, protect everyone, amen, ken yatzu. Be'ezrat Hashem, elad Rabbi Meir yaneni, elad Rabbi Meir yaneni, elad Rabbi Meir yaneni, מי שברך אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, משה ואהרון, דוד ושלמה, וכל הצדיקים הגדולים והקדושים שהקדוש ברוך הוא יברך את כל הקהל הקדוש הזה, הם ונושיהם ובניהם ותלמידיהם וכל אשר להם, מלכי דעלמא הוא יברך את כל ויזכה את כל, ובזכות הצדיק רבי מאיר בעל הנס, שהקדוש ברוך הוא בעזרת השם יפתח את שערי פרנסה ואת שערי שלווה ואת שערי בריאות ושערי נחת, שהקדוש ברוך הוא בעזרת השם ישפוך עליהם כולם שפע עד בלידי, שהקדוש ברוך הוא בעזרת השם ישמע את כל תפילותינו וימלא את כל משאלות ליבנו לטובה, שכל אלו שמחפשים זיווג ימצאו את הזיווג, שכל אלו שחולים, הקדוש ברוך הוא ישלח להם רפואה שלמה ברמ"ח איבריהם, שישג ידיהם, אין רופא להם, אין רופא להם, בזכות הצדיק רבי מאיר בעל הנס יגן בעדיהם. And may HaKadosh Baruch Hu B'at Hashem hear all our prayers and fulfill all our heart's wishes, each and every one of our holy Kahal. Amen. Kiniyat B'at Hashem.
Amen.
Amen.
You know, but before we start the shiur, I would like just to allow everyone to understand the importance of lighting a candle and saying the story of a tzaddik, mentioning the tzaddik, studying something of the tzaddik, praying in the mirror to the tzaddik, saying tehillim for the tzaddik, giving tzedakah in the mirror to the tzaddik, in honor of the tzaddik, anything about it. You know the word ilula, that now we are in the ilula of Rabbi Baal HaNes. The word ilula. What does the word ilula mean? Zohar Kadosh says that the word ilula, anytime it says ilula, essentially in the Zohar, it actually means wedding. The word ilula means wedding. Why wedding? So we always say, every time that there is an ilula, we explain what does the meaning of ilula mean. Zohar Kadosh says ilula means wedding. Why? Because when you go to a wedding, what do? You bring to the chatan and the kala gifts. You give them honor. You celebrate with them. They are the star of the night. Everyone wants to make the bride and the groom as happy as possible. On the day of the Ilula of the tzaddik, which is the groom, with his wife, which is the Torah, they dance together, and all malachai hasharet and all the neshamot tzaddikim, they all come to the tzaddik and they bring him gifts and shefa and blessing and abundance of goodness. The tzaddik, with all this bracha, he doesn't have what to do with it. That bracha is, he's no longer in this world. He takes that bracha and it's useless for him. So what does the tzaddik do? He comes down to the world on the day of his Ilula, and anyone that comes forward and demands from him something, anyone that's willing to become partners with him by giving him a perek of tehillim, by giving him a body, a physical body, which is the flame, which is the candles, to dwell in, a person that gives tzedakah, whatever it is, anyone that's willing to come and to show partnership with the tzaddik takes all those gifts that he receives from malachai sheret and from the neshamot, and he gives them to the person that asks for it. That's why, Rabbi, it's so important to ask, to pray, to light candles, to do tehillim, to do whatever it is, do something special, and do it in the mirror of the tzaddik. And B'Zat Hashem, in the mirror of Rabbi Moshe Pinto Shlita, we will all see in our lives miracles today. B'Zat Hashem, we will all have a sign that miracles are starting, bracha is starting, and B'Zat Hashem only b'siyata deshman, only good things to come in Kinyatsu. Now, but before we start the shiur, we have to say that first of all, I miss everyone so much. Each and every one of the kahal, I cannot wait to see everyone. B'Zat Hashem, we're able very soon to come together and to participate in the shiurim. We're going to go back to the Zohar Kadosh. We're going to go back to the 8 gates of Arizal. We're going to continue B'Zat Hashem with the 7 gates of prayers. It's all coming very soon. It's just a matter of a short period of time, and we're going to get back to it. And B'Zat Hashem, Rabbi Baal HaNes will make a miracle that will happen even sooner. But you know, Abotai, I would like to jump in to the subject of the tzaddik. Like we mentioned, Abotai, it's very important to speak about tzaddik. That's what I want to do, B'Zat Hashem. So first of all, Abotai, we just mentioned that Rabbi Meir, he has this nickname. We call him Baal HaNes. What does Baal HaNes mean? It means master of the miracle. So why is it that he has this title of master of the miracle? So now, Abotai, there's a story in the Gemara. It's a story that we mentioned many times. But it's a beautiful story that actually has to do with the wife of Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes. That actually the name of Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, came because of his wife. As we know, Abotai, it says that Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, his wife, was a big tzaddik. It even said that she would wear tefillin. That she was at that level of kedusha. She was above what we could imagine. It said that this woman, Bruria, was the daughter of who? It was the daughter of Rabbi Hanina ben Tardion. And as we know, Rabbi Hanina ben Tardion was one of the 10 Asara Ogei Malchut, the 10 tzaddikim who gave their life for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, b'kiddush Hashem. As we all know what it says in Masechet Avodah Zarah in page Yudchet, that Rabbi Hanina ben Tardion, how did he pass away? It says that he took a Sefer Torah and he was teaching Torah Barabbim in the streets. He didn't allow anyone to stop him from teaching Torah. When the Romans caught him, and it was a law, you were not allowed to study Torah, and he had a Sefer Torah on his back, and he was teaching everybody, the Romans said we have to punish him. So we know the story where it says in the Gemara that the Romans, they took that Sefer Torah, they dipped it in oil, they wrapped Rabbi Hanina ben Tardion, and they set him on fire with that Sefer Torah. And we know the miracles, that the letters were going up to Shamayim, the guard jumped in, there was a voice that was heard, Rabbi Hanina ben Tardion knew the guard, come forward, come, you have a place in Olam Haba. The Gemara says that Rabbi Hanina ben Tardion, when they punished him, the Romans were not satisfied with just killing him. Where they said, if we're going to punish Rabbi Hanina ben Tardion, we have to punish his entire family. So what did they do? The Gemara says that they went to Rabbi Hanina ben Tardion's daughter, which, as we know, Rabbi Hanina ben Tardion had 2 daughters. One was Bruria that married Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, and the second one doesn't mention her name in any place in the Gemara, neither in the Zohar Kadosh. Why? Because we know that names that are mentioned in the Gemara and the Zohar Kadosh, they need to be at a very high level in order even to be mentioned as a person, to give recognition of their own name. It says that the Romans searched for the daughters of Rabbi Chaim ben Tardion. They didn't find Buria. Buria was in the hands of Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, which was a big miracle maker. And the other daughter was at the house of Rabbi Hanina. The Gemara says they took the daughter of Rabbi Chaim ben Tardion, the young daughter, the sister of Buria, and they said, we're going to sell her as a slave, as a woman slave for the palace of the king. And they kidnapped the daughter of Rabbi Chaim ben Tardion, and they took her to a house of women, where there it was the king's slaves, in order for the king to do what he wants. When Buria heard that her sister, her young sister, it's like a daughter to her, was captured and being thrown around like a slave, Buria said that we cannot allow this to just be. The Gemara said that what did Buria do? She came to her husband Rabbi Baal HaNes, and she told her husband Rabbi Meir, you need to go and do something to save my daughter, my sister. So Rabbi Baal HaNes said, you know what, I'm going to try, I'm going to do everything in my efforts to go and to maybe create a miracle, to do something. It says Rabbi Baal HaNes, he was a very polarizing character, and we'll speak about it furthermore. What did he do? He took a bag of gold, took clothing of a general, of a soldier, of a Roman soldier, dressed like a Roman soldier, and he went to the house of the house of women where the slaves of the king were in. And Rabbi Meirs said, we have to do a test. I will not be able to just come and to release and to bring a miracle upon the sister of Buria, my wife, unless I can have a guarantee that she did not sin willingly. Meaning that if she sinned willingly, I cannot use my merit to save her. If she's sinning and she's doing it purposely, it's not something that she's embarrassed of, not something that she regrets, no miracle can happen to her, and I will never be able to save her. So he said, let's do the test. He entered into the home of the slaves, and he came to his sister Buria. And he told her, come sin with me. Sister Buria looked at Rabbi Meir, didn't recognize him because he was dressed like a soldier. She said, I'm tired, I'm sick, I don't feel good. Come back tomorrow and I sin with you. The next day, Rabbi Meir would come back in the clothing of a soldier. You come, you sin with me today? The sister said, today my leg, my this, my arm, I have a cough. Come back tomorrow. And I guess for 4 or 5 days, Rabbi Meir would come every single day dressed like a soldier. Sister Buria said, I don't feel good to sin with you today. So Rabbi Meirs Baal HaNes, he understood that she's clean, she's holy, she did not sin, and if she did not sin, I can bring a miracle. So what did he do? He went to the head guard of that house of women, of the slaves of the king. And he told him, I'm going to give you half a bag of gold, and I want you to release that woman right there. She's a Jewish woman, you need to release her. So the guard looked at Rabbi Meir and he said, I see that you gave me a big sum of money, but this sum of money will eventually run out. And I'm not the only guard here. So if you're going to give me a sum of money, I cannot run away because it's not a big enough amount of money to run away. But on the other hand, all those other guards will see and they will go and tattletale. So Rabbi Meir said, okay. He reached in his pocket, took the other half of gold coins, said, here you go, take another half of gold coins. I want you to split it, this second half, amongst all the guards. Like everyone are going to be quiet. So the guard said, okay, that's good, but what if Chas v'Shalom I get caught? So he thought, and he said, what can I do? How can I convince this guard to release Sister Buria? So Meir said, I have a trick for you. I have a secret sentence. What is the secret sentence? AT RABBI MOSHE. And he told him, anytime you're in danger, if you're going to be in danger, they're going to catch you, whatever it is, you get up and you scream, AT RABBI MOSHE, Ya'aneni, the God of Rabbi Meir will save me. Say it 3 times and you will have a miracle. So this guard, he said, it's a very cute sentence, it's a nice sentence to say, AT RABBI MOSHE Ya'aneni, but it's a lot of confidence on your side. But in reality, it proved to me that it works. So the Gemara said, no problem. They went to a cage of dogs, hungry dogs, and the Gemara said Rabbi Meir took dirt, sand, and he started to throw on the dogs to make them upset. When the dog saw Rabbi Meir and the guard, the dog started to run towards Rabbi Meir, to beat him, to bite him, to attack him, to eat him. Rabbi Meir screamed, AT RABBI MOSHE, AT RABBI MOSHE, AT RABBI MOSHE 3 times. Suddenly the dogs turned around and made as if they were invisible. When the guard saw this, he said, this man is a miracle maker, and I trust that even if I will be in a place of danger, I will be able to be saved. And the guard released Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes' sister-in-law, And from that point on, Rabbi Meir was no longer recognized as Rabbi Meir, but Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes. Rabbi Meir, the master of the miracle. Where we see, Rabotai, until today, people at our place of tzara, at a place of sadness, in a place of stress, they need help, they need a miracle. They say, AT RABBI MOSHE PINTO 3 times, and until today, Rabotai, we see Nisim v'Niflaot. That Rabbi Meir still holds that title of master of the miracles, and for eternity hold on to that title. And that's why Rabotai tonight is so special. It's the night where we can bring upon ourselves so much miracle. We can bring upon ourselves, Rabotai, so much things that are above nature, just by using the merits of the tzaddik Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes. And it even said that guard was caught afterwards, and they tried to hang him. And when they hung him, he said Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes 3 times, and each time they tried to kick the chair in order for him to no longer be standing on the chair. It said that every single time that he did so, the guards were not able to push the chair, and the king ended up releasing that guard. So we see, Rabotai, there's big merit, and there's a lot of zichut of using tonight as a night to be partners with the tzaddik in order to bring down big shefa. But you know, Rabotai, there's something that is very interesting. 2 years ago, I asked this question, and we spoke about this 2 years ago in the Ilula. And this morning, I was reading the Zohar Kadosh, and I found mamash the exact same chidush that I brought, in a little bit different words, but the same teaching. I would love to share with everyone. As we know, Rabotai, tonight is Yud Daled Be'Iyar. It's 14 Be'Iyar, which is also Pesach Shenei. Today, Chazal announced that we are going to celebrate the Ilula of Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes. As we know, Rabotai, in reality, the passing of Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, his day where he left this world, was not even on Yud Daled Be'Iyar. Whereas we know there are many Tanaim, many people at the time of the Gemara, many tzaddikim, which it's never mentioned the day of their passing. And Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes is one of those tzaddikim that we don't know when he passed away. But for some reason, Chazal chose, and he guided Chazal to get to this conclusion, that when are we going to celebrate his passing, his Ilula? Yud Daled Be'Iyar. Why is that? As we know, Rabotai, these tzaddikim, especially the tzaddik Rabbi Baal HaNes, nothing is done for no reason. So why is it out of all the days in the year, Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes chooses Pesach Shenei, the second opportunity of Pesach, the second Pesach, the small Pesach, when on that date he wished that we would celebrate his Ilula, he wished that we would celebrate the passing of the tzaddik and all the glorious miracles that the tzaddik performed when he was alive. Why specifically that date? Out of all the days in the year, he chose that date for no reason. Out of all the days in the year, Chazal grabbed on Yud Daled Be'Iyar because it's a nice date. So now, Rabotai, an answer like that, I'm not satisfied with. I always said there must be a reason that Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes chose Dafka Yud Daled Be'Iyar to be the day of his Ilula, the day that we celebrate Rabbi Meir, and not any other date. So now, Rabotai, in order to understand why we celebrate Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes passing specifically on Yud Daled Be'Iyar when we don't know his passing date. It's not mentioned in any place as concrete. It's not mentioned in any place. We usually celebrate the Ilulot of all the Tanaim on Zayin Be'Adar. With Zayin Be'Adar, it's the Ilula of all tzaddikim. It's the Ilula of Moshe Rabbeinu, and all the tzaddikim are included in Moshe Rabbeinu. So that's when we usually celebrate the Ilulot of the Tanaim. Most of the Tanaim, we don't know their Tirah, the day of their passing at all. So really, why? So in order to understand this, we have to understand what is Pesach Shenei. What is the second day of Pesach? So now, Rabotai, it said in the Torah that at the time when Bnei Israel left Egypt, HaKadosh Baruch Hu asked from each one of Bnei Israel to bring a sacrifice, which was called Korban Pesach. Now, not everyone were able to take place in this sacrifice, in this meal. Who was excluded from taking place in this meal? So two types of people. First of all, an Arel, a man that does not have a Brit Milah done. He did not have a Brit Milah done, that's one. And second of all, a man that is Tmimit, a man that is impure from the impurity of a person that is no longer alive. So, as we know, it said in the Torah, if a person is in close contact with a niftar, with a person that is no longer alive, he becomes impure of the dead. Today we are all impure of that Tmimit. We are all considered, there's no way of really doing Ta'ara. So we're all b'cheskat. The moment the doctor touches the kid, he's already Tmimit. Until Mashiach will come, he will be able to clean away that klipav of Tmimit. People that are Tmimit are not allowed to take place in Korban Pesach. As we know that the first Korban Pesach, the first sacrifice of Pesach, the first night of Pesach, all Bnei Israel were able to participate. Why? Because everyone did Brit Milah at that time, and everyone was holy. Everyone was completely clean. HaKadosh Baruch Hu cleaned them all in order to come forward for the Korban Pesach. But the Torah said that there were a few people, a group of people, that were not able to take place. Who were these people? They were people that were doing a mitzvah. What mitzvah? They were the group of people that were carrying the bones of Yosef. Whereas we know that Moshe Rabbeinu took out the bones of Yosef, and Bnei Israel brought Yosef HaTzadik till Eretz Israel. Those people that were carrying his body and traveling with him, they were all day long in close contact with a person that was no longer alive, Yosef HaTzadik. All those people that came to Moshe Rabbeinu with a ta'ana, with a complaint, where they said, I don't understand Rabbi Moshe Rabbeinu. We're doing a mitzvah, which is a complete mitzvah for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We know that any mitzvah that has to do with a person who's no longer alive, it's a complete mitzvah that has no interest of receiving anything in return. It's the highest form of mitzvah. We are carrying Yosef HaTzadik, doing the mitzvah of giving respect to a man that's no longer alive, and keeping the swear that he made us swear that we will bring him back to Eretz Israel. And you punish us that we're not allowed to take place in this holy night of Pesach. So it says Moshe Rabbeinu told HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I told those people, let me go to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, let me ask what HaKadosh Baruch Hu thinks about this. And he went to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and he told HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you have some kids here that are complaining that it's not fair that they are not able to participate in the mitzvah of Pesach. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu, tell those kids that on the 14th of Iyar, they will be able to do Pesach, and they will be able to celebrate Pesach like it is the first Pesach. And from that day and on, we have that mitzvah, we have that opportunity of having a second date for Pesach. And that is 30 days from Leil HaSeder, which is tonight. Pesach is Yudalid B'Nisan, we are Yudalid B'Iyar. But now, the question really is, what can we learn, Klal Am Yisrael, from this mitzvah? Because as we know, Abutai, nothing in the Torah is put for one individual, for one sentence, for no reason. Everything that was put in the Torah was put in place in order for until eternity, we will be able to use that, we will be able to imply that mitzvah, or any word of the Torah. So what can we take from the mitzvah of Pesach Shenei? Where it's very rare to find a person that was not, didn't have the opportunity to do Pesach in today's day and age. So now, Botay, was something beautiful that I thought that it was mine, but it's also ended up being another big tzaddik. The Admor Michabad said this, but I think it's beautiful. And maybe we can learn about something that is important for all of us to carry for the rest of our lives. Maybe we can learn about that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is here to teach us, Bnei Israel, a big lesson. The lesson of what? The lesson of never giving up on anything, even if it seems to be completely lost. When we see, Abotai, a group of Bnei Israel come to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with the excuse that a date that is so holy, that a date that we say that there is no other day in the entire year that exists like Pesach, was lost, and they were crying on the fact that they will no longer be able to celebrate on that date. And here HaKadosh Baruch Hu teaches Bnei Israel for generations to come that even a date, even something that is like time, it's 24 hours, passes, it's gone. Once time passes, it's finished. Even a date like Pesach can be brought back. Even something that seems completely lost, we are not allowed to lose hope. And there is always a chance to rebuild. There is always a chance to take back what seems to be lost. And that, Abotai, is something that we all need to carry for every day of our life. Sometimes, Abotai, we find ourselves in a situation where we think hope is lost. There's no chance that something could, a space for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to bring a miracle. Abotai, anything that seems broken, that seems incomplete, we learn from this place, from this mitzvah, that we always have opportunity to repair. We always have an opportunity to take back something that seems to be gone. And Abotay, maybe we can say that this being the core of Pesach Shenei, that the entire concept is about bringing back something that is lost, not what Pesach is. Maybe we could connect this Abotay to the Ilulah of Rabbi Moshe Baal HaNes, but in the most simple way possible. As we know, Abotay, every single tzaddik holds something that is dear to him, something that you see throughout his entire life. It is consistent. Every single tzaddik stands with a certain mitzvah, and that certain mitzvah is everything to him. It is who that tzaddik is. And you know, we can give many examples, but there's no beginning and there's no end of examples you can give of every single Rav having his own thing that he stood strong with. Rabbi Moshe Baal HaNes held something from the beginning of his life to the end of his life that is complete connection in one with the concept of Pesach Shenei. And that is what? That is the concept, Abotai, of believing that nothing is lost and nothing is impossible. That everything, Abotai, with the ratzon, with the will, can be changed, everything can be brought back. A person from the poorest man could become the richest man, a person from the sickest place could become healthy. It's all in our hands, and it's just a matter of believing that we can do it. So where do we learn that, Abotai? So now, Abotai, we have to see something that Rabbi Moshe Baal HaNes died doing, and usually in a person's last moments, he truly shows what he stands for throughout his entire life. And there's a story, Abotai, of the passing of Rabbi Moshe Baal HaNes and the reason of why he passed away when he passed away. And it's something incredible, Abotai. We all know, Abotai, that Rabbi Moshe Baal HaNes had a Rav. He had a mentor. He had someone that he walked after, ba'esh u'b'mayim, in the fire, in the water, in the night, in the day. He walked after him, black and white. Who was that? There was a big Tana, big tzaddik, that his name was Elisha ben Avuya. We know about the story in Masechet Chagiga in page Gimel, where it says, Arba'a shalu lapardes, the four tzaddikim that went up to a higher world, and they were Rabbi Moshe Baal HaNes, Rabbi Akiva, Elisha ben Avuya, ben Azai, and ben Zoma. The four tzaddikim that went up to a higher world. We're not going to get into the story because it's a very, very long story. But the Gemara says in Masechet Chagiga, four went up, only one went and came back b'shalom. Went in peace and came back in peace. Who is that? Rabbi Akiva. Where it says, Elisha ben Avuya went up to the higher world. Kafar beikar. He sinned, became an atheist. Ben Azai went up, lost his mind. And Ben Zoma went up and died. Where the only one that truly went up and came down in peace was Rabbi Akiva. It says Abotai that what was the reasoning that Elisha ben Avuya went up and came down an atheist? So the Gemara says that when he went up, he saw that Malach Matetron, the angel Matetron, was sitting down on a chair, and he had a table in front of him, and he was writing down the Zchuyot of Bnei Israel. He had the book of Merit. It says that when Elisha saw the angel sitting down, he said, here in Olamot Elyonim, in the higher worlds, nobody's tired, nobody sits. The only one that sits is HaKadosh Baruch Hu on the throne of Kisei HaKavod. Who is this angel, Matetron, that is sitting down? So Elisha ben Avuya got up and he said, Shnei Reshuyot Yesh. There are two gods, one being Matet and the second being HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It says, after that happened, Elisha ben Avuya became a complete Rasha, and he went against all the Torah and he went against all what he believed in. To the point where it said that a voice was screamed, and that voice said, Shuvu banim shovavim chutz mi'acher. All my kids have teshuvah. Acher, Elisha, he has no teshuvah. There is no place to repent for Elisha ben Avuya. In Abotai, it says that Rabbi Baal HaNes, he was devastated from this occurrence. Imagine, Abotai, someone that he grew up looking at him as his Rav, and suddenly he went with his trip with Rabbi Akiva, and he comes back and he becomes a Rasha. He said that Elisha ben Avuya, he did terrible things, that publicly he denounced HaKadosh Baruch Hu and publicly showed to everyone that he's no longer the Tana, the holy tzaddik Elisha, but now he is something else, something different. And that is actually what they named him. Towards the end of his life, when he no longer was a tzaddik, they didn't call him Elisha ben Avuya, but they called him Acher. What does Acher mean? Different, other, no longer the same. And that was Elisha ben Avuya. It says Abotai that Rabbi Moshe Baal HaNes, his entire life, could not stand the fact that the Rav who brought him above, the Rav who took him to Olamot Eilunim, his father on a spiritual level, left HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It says Rabbi in the Gemara that Rabbi Baal HaNes never gave up on Elisha ben Avuya. In Rabbi Meirs' entire life, he would chase Elisha ben Avuya and try to bring him back with Tshuva. The Gemara brings a story, and if I'm not mistaken, the Yerushalmi, where it says that one time it was Shabbat and Rabbi Baal HaNes was traveling, and suddenly he saw his teacher, his Rav, that no longer is a Rav anymore, Elisha ben Avuya, riding a horse on Shabbat. So it says that Rabbi Meir, he said, maybe today I will be able to cause my Rav to do teshuvah. Maybe I will be able to inspire him to realize that what he did was wrong and he wants to change. So he started to chase Elisha ben Avuya. He said, Elisha, please, do teshuvah. Please, come back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You have so much Torah. You were one of the students of Rabbi Akiva. There's a chance for you to restart something new. So it says that Elisha ben Avuya told Rabbi Meir, there is no chance. He said, how can you say that there's no chance? He said, because there is no chance, because I heard up there a voice that screamed, all my kids, come back to teshuvah, but you, Elisha ben Avuya, you have no teshuvah. There is no place for you to repent. Why is that, Rabotai? So Arizal explains Rabotai concept, which is actually not the way it sounds that HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't accept the teshuvah of Elisha ben Avuya. It's not like that at all. Because Arizal asks the question that I'm sure many of you are asking, of how can he say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want to receive a person's teshuvah? So Arizal explains something that is very applicable in today's time, and that is the Omer. And that is the concept of the last shiur that we spoke about with regards to the 50 levels of a person's body. Where it says that when a person takes his entire body, which are built from 49 pieces, sfirot, 49 sfirot, which are 49 pieces, and he designates and he defects piece by piece in the impurity, when he reaches to the 49th level, Yetzer Hara, Samael, comes together with that person, and they create a total of 50 pieces, and in those 50 pieces, who is a part of that man? Yetzer Hara, Samael himself. And the moment that a person becomes a part of Yetzer Hara himself, where him and the Satan are considered to be one, that person, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, cannot reach his hand to bring him back to Tshuva. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu will not reach his hand inside Sitra Achra. That man is a part of Yetzer Hara. The only way that that person can do Teshuvah is one way. If he comes forward and he takes steps towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If he takes the steps towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu and he rips off that 50th piece, which is the 50 levels of impurity, if he takes himself out of that, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu can reach out his hand to help him, to cause him, to guide him to do Teshuvah. But once one reaches to a point where him and the Satan become one, him and the Satan are attached, HaKadosh Baruch Hu no longer can help that man do Teshuvah. He's on his own and he must repent with his own kochot. That is exactly what happened with Elisha ben Avuya. The Zohar HaKadosh in Parasha Torah, if I'm not mistaken, in page Resh Nun Gimel, says something that is incredible, where it says that actually what was the cause of him becoming one with the Sitra Achra. So it says that when he went up to Shamayim, he saw his Yesod, his element, which is every neshama comes from a different element, it's 4 elements. When Elisha ben Avuya saw his element, which was the fire, he went down to his element, which is essentially the most physical perspective that exists in a person. When he saw his element, which was the fire, he went down to his element and he attached himself with the Yetzer Hara, and the Yetzer Hara surrounded him and he became one with the Sitra Achra. That's actually the story of Elisha ben Avuya. That it's not that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not allow him to do Teshuvah, but that he reached a place where him and the Satan were one. So Elisha ben Avuya told Rabbi Meir, I am lost. It's gone. There is no way for me to do Teshuvah. I am one with the Sitra Achra. For me to come and to repent, to change, it's finished. It's gone. It's lost. It's Rabotai that Rabbi HaNes took Elisha ben Avuya, yeshiva by yeshiva. It took him place by place to try to convince him, to try to prove to him that it's never lost, that there's no situation that exists in the world where a person cannot get up and he cannot change something. Nothing is ever gone. But it said that Elisha ben Avuya was not convinced. he heard the voice of HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself say that he is not welcoming Elisha ben Avia to do teshuvah. It said, Rabotai, that even though Elisha, he did not believe, but the Gemara even shows that when they were walking on the horse, Elisha told Rabbi Meir, you have to stop here. So Rabbi Meir said, why? He said, because it's Shabbat, and you're not allowed to leave 2,500 amot out of the tchum, and I've been counting the footsteps of the horse while you started to walk with me, and you got to 2,500. Meaning he didn't even want Rabbi Meir to see. So he truly believed that what? He truly believed that the concept of bringing back something that is lost is impossible. And that was his mistake. Where he thought that there's no opportunity for him to do teshuvah. The Gemara says that his entire life Rabbi Meir chased him and never helped him at all. Elisha was stuck on his way and did not do teshuvah. Until Elisha got to his point of life where he had to pass away, and he passed away. The Zohar Kadosh says that when Elisha ben Avia reached to Bet Din Shel Mala, to court of Olam Elyon, they didn't know what to do with him. They looked at the neshama, which followed this neshama into the courtroom, hundreds of thousands of pages of Gemara, because Elisha was a big tzaddik before he got rotten. And they said, on one side, we have hundreds of thousands of pages of Gemara that are standing in the courtroom, but on the other side, this man is a complete Rasha. So how can we judge something like that? It's two forces that we cannot put in equation. You cannot judge so many pages of Gemara, and you cannot judge all those sins. So it says that the Bet Din, the courthouse, which at that seat, the judge was Matetron, that's what the Zohar Kadosh says. Matetron got the permission to erase the merit of Elisha ben Avia, couldn't erase the pages. So what did they do with him? They said, because it's such a complicated situation, we can't get rid of those pages. We got rid of the merit, we can't get rid of the pages. We cannot judge Elisha ben Avia. So I said, because we cannot judge him, we cannot take him to the Gehenna, to hell, which is a blessing, and we cannot take him to Gan Eden, for sure not, because he is one with the Sitracha. So they said, Elisha ben Avia neshama is judged to go to where? To Kaf HaKela. What is Kaf HaKela? It's a purgatory. What is purgatory? Purgatory is essentially what? It's essentially a place where the neshama floats in limbo for eternity. There is no reparation. Even hell is blessing, because hell, you start 11 months, you finish, you go, you end. Purgatory, there's no end. And it says that Elisha's neshama was thrown to purgatory to float for eternity. Rabbi Baal HaNes, it says in the Gemara, he sat down in Bet Midrash, and in Ruach HaKodesh he saw the neshama of his Rav being thrown to purgatory and to be exiled for eternity, and Rabbi Baal HaNes did not accept. He said it's not too late to help and to save my Rav Elisha ben Avia. Even though he was already judged in Bet Din Shel Mala that he has no reparation, I still believe I can repair it. What did Rabbi Baal HaNes do? It says that Rabbi Baal HaNes, he went, told all his chavrutot, all his chaveriyah, his friends that he would study with, that he's going to do a specific prayer, and he's going to pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to die in that day. And he says, when I will die, when my neshama will pass through that place where both worlds connect, I will grab Elisha ben Avia and I will drag him into Olamot HaElonim. And I will force a reparation. It says that the Chaverim, the students, they say, if you're going to be able to bring and to save the neshama of the man who you owe your entire world to, we support you. Rabbi Moshe Pinto Shlita, he went and he prayed and he did whatever he did, and in that day he passed away. And that was the end of Rabbi Moshe Pinto Shlita. It said when Rabbi Moshe Pinto Shlita passed away, when his Shema was going up, the Zohar Kadosh says that what did Rabbi Meir do? He grabbed Elisha ben Avia, his neshama that was floating, by his beard, and he dragged Elisha ben Avia to Olamot HaElonim, to the spiritual world. And where did he put him? It says he put him in Gehenna. Why? It's because at least Gehenna has reparation. In Gehenna, the fire of Gehenna will be able to burn all the impurity that he's attached with, and eventually he will be able to receive merit and to receive the reward for all those pages of Gemara and all those teaching that he taught. So it says that when he went up, that's what he did. He grabbed Elisha ben Avuya's neshama from his beard, dragged him into Gehenna and put his neshama in Gehenna. It says that all the students of Rabbi Moshe Pinto, when they heard that, they ran to the grave of Elisha ben Avuya. When they got to the grave of Elisha ben Avuya, they saw that from the cracks of the stones, suddenly, smoke started to come out. So they started to cry, they started to celebrate. They said, Rabbi Meir, Neorai, which Neorai was another one of his names. He succeeded to bring his Rav to a tikkun. He succeeded to bring his Rav to reparation. And they were celebrating. Why? That smoke was the smoke of Gehenna, and they were celebrating for that. It says that once, one of the Tanaim, when they saw that, he said, how can we imagine a student taking his Rav to Gehenna, even though he did a big mitzvah that he saved his neshama, but to imagine that he took his neshama and brought it to Gehenna is something that is unimaginable. So one of the students said, I'm going to pray, do the same tikkun that Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes did, but this time I'm going to drag Elisha ben Avuya out of Gehenna and bring him to Gan Eden. And it said that the other Tana, if I'm not mistaken, his name was Rabbi Yochanan, prayed to pass away, and that day he passed away, and he went into Gehenna, grabbed to the beard of Elisha ben Avuya, and brought him into Gan Eden, into paradise. And that, Abotai, is what Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes lived on, and he passed away on. He died on the fact and on the concept that there is nothing in the world, Abotai, that is too late to get up, to change, to repair, to bring upon ourselves a itchachut, a renewal. That even if a person, Abotai, already left this world, and even if a person is judged to the worst punishment of them all, kafakela, even a person like that can get up and he could change. Even a person like that can get up and to bring back what was lost. And that is why Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes asked and directed Chazal that we celebrate his Ilula when? On Pesach Shenei. Why Pesach Shenei? Because Pesach Shenei is the date where we celebrate the things that are lost, things that seem to be lost. And that, Rabbi, is something that is so special that we all need to carry on, Rabbi, for the rest of our lives. Whatever it is, if it's our health, if it's Shalom Bayit, if it's the Parasha, if it's the Zivug, if it's whatever it is, Ein Yeush Ba'olam Klal. A person is not allowed to leityaesh, to give up, to surrender himself and say there is no more tikkun, there is no chance I will get there. A person needs to hold on, Abotai, every single day of his life, that no matter what happens to him, no matter what he occurs in his life, no matter what he experiences in his life, there is always place to get up and to create a comeback, to create a renewal, to repair something. Nothing is lost, Abotai. And that is essentially, Abotai, what the Zohar Kadosh that I found today connects to Pesach Shenei. Whereas now, Abotai, what did it say in the Torah? It says, Ish ish ki itma nafsho, or yeh b'derech rechoka. That's the pasuk that's brought about Pesach Shenei. It says, Ish ish, a man, that either he's impure from the impurity of the dead, or the impurity of the milah, or he's he's traveling, which the Mefarshim explained, our sages explained, that derech rechoka means maybe he was traveling, he did not reach to Eretz Israel in time to celebrate Pesach, so he came late, so he can celebrate at a later period. The Zohar Kadosh says, no, that's not what it means. The Zohar Kadosh says there's a big secret in this pasuk. What is the secret in this pasuk? First of all, the end of this pasuk, the word rechoka, which means far, it's one of the 10 letters in the Torah that have a dot. The hey, the last letter of rechoka, has a dot on it. Even in the Torah. 1 out of 10 letters. Let's hold on to that. Let's put that inside now. Ish, a man. The Zohar Kadosh says, why a man? The Zohar Kadosh says, a man that had the potential and had a neshama, like all Bnei Israel have, that could reach to great heights. Meaning a person that has great potential, that each Bnei Israel Abotai have potential. Rabbi Menachem Mendel Mikotsk says that every single Jew is like a gold coin, just a matter of polishing and it becomes shiny. You can see its beauty. Ish, a man that has great potential. Ki itma et nafsho. If his neshama, if his purity was hit a little bit, or if his purity was not hit a little bit, and even worse, he went b'derech rechoka. He went far. Far what? The Zohar Kadosh says the word rechoka represents what? Represents istracha. Represents yetzara. Well, not only that he didn't start his journey, that he itma et nafsho, he got a little bit impure, but he took that impurity and he ran with it till he got to the end of yetzara. To the point of what? So to the point where what is that dot? And the end of that sentence have? What is that? The letter on the end that says it have? It's a hey. It has a dot. What does the hey represent? Hey is actually what represents the Shekhinah. What represents our presence above, the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in our lives. The Shekhinah is the hey of Havaya. The end of the word Havaya, Yud Kei Vav Kei, that last hey, that is the Shekhinah. The Zohar Kodesh says that hey of Havaya that represents the Shekhinah is that exact same hey that is in the end of the word Rechoka. And what is that dot? That dot is the Sitra Cha'ah coming to a person and absorbing all his grasp and all his right as a Jew to have access to the Shekhinah and becoming one with that person. Where even a person that got to a point where he is one with the Yetzer Hara, like Elisha ben Avuya, where a person like that technically has no return. A person like that, he has an opportunity when, on Pesach Shenei, to get up and to bring back something that seemed lost. And that Rabotai is so incredible because it makes so much sense now of why Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes chose this date in order to celebrate the day that he passed away, which is essentially him giving his life up to save Elisha ben Avuya. And that, Rabotai, is what we have tonight. Tonight, Rabotai, is a night of bringing back things that seem lost. Tonight is a night, Rabotai, of getting up and changing things that we gave up on. Rabotai, it is embedded in the date. It is embedded in this time. We need, Rabotai, to take the opportunity to use it to reach to a place where Be'ezrat Hashem we will be able to start something new, to change ourselves. Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, Rabotai, stood for that his entire life. Rabotai, there's so many stories that I can bring. I'm just going to mention them. Maybe tomorrow we will do them in Erev Shabbat. Incredible. We know the story of the Zohar Kadosh where it said Elisha ben Avuya saw couples that were broken, that were disasters, screaming, hitting each other. That's what the Zohar Kadosh says. And Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes would go house by house and repair them. Or it even says Rabotai, a story that doesn't make sense. It was hidden actually. It's in Midrash Aseret HaDibrot, where it says that Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, he fell b'diavad in a sin that has no return. That the person cannot repair himself from a sin like that. It's not that simple. We're not going to make it that simple. We have to hear the story to truly understand it. And still, Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes was able to continue to repair something that seemed impossible. Rabotai, we have that opportunity. Tonight is a night, Rabotai, where we could all, Be'ezrat Hashem, get up, take upon ourselves something, look at our life, see what we want, see what we gave up on, see what we convinced ourselves, what the world hit us and shaped us in a way where when we come to a certain place, we give up. Grab those things, Rabotai, and start to rebuild, start to change. You know, Rabotai, that we always said that Pesach is what? Pesach is not the day of redemption spiritually. It's not the day of Mashiach. Pesach is the day of the redemption physically between a person and the Yetzer Hara, in his desires, in his Yetzer, in the evil inclination. Rabotai, there is no bigger slavery that we have in our world than the slavery that we are to our desires, to the Yetzer Hara, to our fear, to our anxiety, to our sadness, to our people that have depression, to our addictions. Rabotai, that is the biggest slavery. We have another chance to get up, to change, and to bring back that same light that we all experienced on Pesach. We can bring it back tonight, Rabotai. We can bring it back today with the combination of the Ilua of Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes and the Chag, the holiday of Pesach Shenei. I think, Rabotai, that is something that is so important that we all need to take, and we need to really think in our hearts and do cheshbon nefesh before this day ends. Because today, Rabotai, it is essentially the last day of Pesach. Whoever believed that they did not do enough work before Pesach, they didn't experience Pesach the way they should have, now it's your opportunity. Get up, change. The Zohar Kadosh says in that Zohar something incredible. It's in Parashat Baal HaNes. It says that on Pesach Shenei, a person doesn't even have to really put the change in action in order to benefit from the lights that come down. Meaning, as we mentioned, Rabotai, Pesach Rishon, all the sirot, they come together, Zeir Alpin, Nukva, everything comes together, and a person can achieve light that is unimaginable, that it's the light of the Geulah. Rabotai, in Pesach Sheni, a person can bring down those exact same lights, but even in a more accessible way. Why? The Zohar Kadosh says, Pesach Rishon, it is Malchut. It is the queen. It is Malchut, which represents the Sefirah of the bottom Sefirah, which hold within it all the Chagat Naim. Chesed, Gvura, Netzach, Tiferet, Hod, Yisod. All those 6 Sefirot are within the Malchut. It's the physical Sefirah. It's the Shekhinah. Pesach Rishon, it's the right hand. It's the Shekhinah. Pesach Sheni, it's what? It's the Bina. And what is the Bina? The Bina is above material. The Malchut represents who we are as a person, if we're holy, how our bodies are, if our bodies sinned, if our bodies didn't sin, and according to that, we receive reward on Pesach Rishon, because it is Malchut, which represents physical. Pesach Sheni, it's Bina. What is Bina? It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu's conscience. It's our conscience. It's the conscience that attaches to our desires, to our emotions, but it still is something that is mentally. How do we repair the Bina? We repair the Bina with our thoughts. So even if we don't have enough time to do a complete teshuvah, and we have a few more hours, that actually we have 24 hours till Pesach Sheni finishes, even if we cannot do a complete teshuvah and go to the mikveh and do everything, if we take upon ourselves that teshuvah, the Zohar Kadosh says that's the difference. That on Pesach Sheni, just by taking upon himself a teshuvah, he can reach to a point of receiving all the shefa and absorbing all that sachar and absorbing all that reward that we could achieve and we can bring down. On Pesach Rishon, now we have the opportunity. But I encourage everyone. I wanted to continue, but I see it is late and they're telling me to that it's already past the time and we have to go now to house of Shiva. Abotai, take the opportunity. Don't let it pass. Hopefully tomorrow we will continue the subject. We'll bring a few more stories that I wanted to mention on Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, Bezrat Hashem. But Abotai, take the opportunity tonight. Sit down, think. You know, Abotai, Bezrat Hashem, very soon we're all going to start going back to our regular life. Everything's going to become reopen. Abotai, it's an opportunity to rebuild ourselves. It's an opportunity to change the way we perceive ourselves and the way people perceive us. A lot of the time, it's hard to get up and to take upon ourselves change because we have these fears. What are people going to think? How am I going to put these changes in my day-to-day life? Abotai, nobody has any life now. Everybody's at their house. Everyone's lost. When we go back into life, into our day-to-day life, Abotai, we need to go back to it with the version that we always want to be. In the sense that let's not be the same people that entered into their homes. Let's exit, Abotai, different. Let's exit better. Let's exit by taking upon ourselves things and showing to the world that this is the person who I am now. And people are all going to show a different side to themselves when we start to meet each other and we start to gather each other. So Abotai, don't miss that opportunity. My understanding that tomorrow they're going to start opening up here. Don't let it pass. Think about it. Let's take upon ourselves something. If there's any night in the year where we can change, we could bring upon ourselves new, something different, something that we thought it was lost, it is tonight. It is the core of the night, it is the core of everything. So Abotai, let's sit down, let's think. Let's do cheshbon nefesh, let's do a count in our neshama. Let's see what we can take upon ourselves. What things, habits that we don't like, acts that we want to change, whatever it is, Abotai. Shalom Bait, we want to fix our Shalom Bait. Chasing one's zivug, whatever it is, Abotai, there's so much. Let's sit down, let's change, let's be better, let's grow. And Abotai, it's never too late to bring change and to bring upon ourselves these new tikkunim, to bring upon ourselves these new changes. So Abotai, let's wake up, let's start. לעד רבי מאיר יענני, לעד רבי מאיר יענני, לעד רבי מאיר יענני. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu give everyone shefa ad v'liday, bracha, tzlacha, b'siyata dishmaya. We will all, Abotai, succeed in our mission tonight. That we're all, B'ezrat Hashem, going to wake up tomorrow morning and go to sleep tomorrow night better, bigger, and different people in the positive side than we are right now. And if we do so, Abotai, B'ezrat Hashem, on the night of the Eilua, Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, the master of the miracle, I guarantee you, Abotai, we will all see the miracles. It's not for no reason Rabbi Meir chose this day to be his Eilula. It's not for no reason we celebrate his Eilula on today's day. He died on this thought, on this concept of repairing things that seem lost. Abotai, whoever wants to merit the presence of Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, we need to bring upon ourselves things that even when we seem lost, we'll bring them back. Abotai, hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to send a few pieces of the shul that we're not able to get to, And Be'ezrat Hashem, may the merit of Rabbi Moshe Baal HaNes protect us all and give us Shefa Ad B'Lidai, Amen Kinyatsu. Kal, what I would like just to finish, just as a closing statement, a small Zohar, and then I'm going to finish. It says, Abotai, something simple. It says that there is nothing in the world that is impossible to be broken, and we can always fix. It even gives an example with Zohar Kosh is glass. Glass, when it shatters, it seems that it's impossible to be repaired. But the Zohar Kosh is even glass can be repaired. How? Take it a few steps back. You take it a few steps back, you make it simpler, you bring it in its natural form, you crush it, you break it down to what it was before you made it into a keli, before you made it into glass, and then you can rebuild it back. So that's what we have to do. We have to go back to our simplicity, go back to our simple brain, the way we were when we were a kid, when our bina, which is our emotion, was pure and it was clean. And if we do so, we can repair even things that seem to be completely lost. הקדוש ברוך הוא give everyone big ברכה והצלחה בסייעתא דשמיא, ובעזרת השם בשורות טובות, אמן כן יעצו. זהו רבותיי, ערב טוב מבורך בעזרת השם.